Bobby and Jackie Charlton were born in Ashington, one of those remarkable mining villages in the northeast where if you want a good footballer, you simply whistle down the pit and up comes an international.
And Bobby and Jack had another advantage. Football was in the Charlton genes. Their mother's cousin, the great Jackie Milburn, a Newcastle legend. Even so, Jack was an unlikely footballer, an odd, angular frame, his movements as awkward as his brothers were elegant. Whereas Bobby went straight to Manchester United from school, Jack, like his father, went down the pit.
I worked in the pit for about a couple of months. Didn't fancy it. And I went back up in the lift. And then I went to the manager's office. I said, I want to retire. He said, you cannot retire. He said, we've trained you for 3 months. So I says, well, I have decided I don't want to work in the pit and I'm leaving.
Mining's loss was Leeds United's gain.
When I got the opportunity, I grabbed it with both hands, and I was probably the most dedicated kid they've had down the road from 15 to 17 you've ever seen in your life. It's anything they told me to do, I did. I was frightened to death they're going to send me home.
Why?
Well, it was. It was a disgrace to get sent home, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because there were so many lads from this area who went to football clubs and used to come home and used to say, oh, they've said they'll write to me, which is the old cliche of, don't ring us, we'll ring you. But this never happened to me, which I think surprised most of the people in Ashington. It surprised my mother. She thought I would last a couple of months.
I did, obviously.
Jack, a late developer, became the cornerstone of Don Reevy's great side of the late 60s.
He's the best centre-half that possibly England's ever produced. When he was right at his pomp, during the World Cup period, and when we got promotion in '65, he could go and attack balls in the air and get them. He had good balance, a great reader of the game, enough ability to pass a ball, and tremendous danger from free kicks and corner kicks and other people's penalty boxes.
Don Revy went and bought a few players, Bobby Collins and all these, and Eddie Gray and Peter Lorimer and Norman Hunter, Billy. Everybody was delighted to be part of the game and playing in it.
I think he was the perfect complement to the other centre-back. Bobby Moore, fantastic centre-half, a fantastic defender for England and West Ham United. Norman Hunter for Leeds United. Jack had his qualities, he knew exactly what they were. He always used to say, our kid, Bobby, can play a bit. My job is to stop other people playing. So he knew his limitations, but he was good. He scored a lot of goals, of course, as well.
And despite being hustled, Charlton's going through. He scored a goal against Villa like this. This is Clark. Charlton following up beautifully. Oh, a good goal!
Like when I went to Leeds, you see, they used to talk about Edward Charlton Copping. Now, it'd be a great joy to me when people in another 5 or 10 years or 20 years discuss the great Leeds United team when they talk about Charlton, Bremner Charlton Hunter. Now, that would really be a kick.
I think they do now, to be honest.
I think they do now. And I think, you know, it's... There were good days, happy days.
But it was, of course, England's World Cup win in 1966 that sealed Jack's place in football folklore, alongside his brother.
I remember him saying to me, what can we do now? You know, what else is there to win?
Yeah.
You know, which was, I think he said it in sort of a sad way, that that was sort of the pinnacle of what he could do. My wife was expecting at the time, actually, so my celebrations were, all the rest of the lads had their wives there, and there was a big dinner and that at the Royal Garden. And we had the dinner, and then I met Jimmy Mossop, who was a friend of mine, writes for the Express. And me and Jimmy went off on the town. He wrote a bit of paper and put it in my pocket to return the body to the Royal Garden. And we went out and did a few clubs. Got fairly well stoned, finished up, somebody invited us back to coffee at their house. Didn't tell us it was in Middlesex somewhere. And finished up there till the next morning, lying on the floor. I got back to the hotel about 11:30 and my mother was going potty because I hadn't slept in my bed all night.
Jack stayed at Leeds until he retired in 1973 and then turned to management. First at Middlesbrough, where he achieved promotion to the First Division. And then he took Sheffield Wednesday from the 3rd to the 2nd.
They were 5 points adrift at the bottom of the 3rd division when I went there. And I really didn't want to take the job when I saw the team. But I did. I went and had a drink with the directors and I took the job. It took a lot of sorting out, particularly from me, because I didn't know anything about the 3rd division. It took me a year to find out what the 3rd division was all about. And then when I found out what it was about, then we adapted the team to suit what we thought would get us out. got the right players, people like Andy McCulloch, who did tremendous for us, and Terry Curran. And we got out of the third division.
There were many who believed he should have been given the England job, but like Brian Clough, his face didn't fit.
I've made too many, well, I wouldn't say enemies, but I've made, I've had arguments with the FA over different things for years. I've probably said a lot more about what needs to be done in the game than I should have done. And I don't think people would trust you to be able to handle the job in the right way or the way they think it should be handled.
The FA took a particularly dim view when he revealed the existence of his little black book.
Oh, well, you can't mention names, but I've got a little book with 2 names in it, and if I get a chance to do them, I will.
Are you in fact being serious?
I'm being serious. I mean, when people do it to me, I will do it back to them. Because I'm not noted for doing it, and people just don't do it to me. But there are 2 or 3 knocking about who have done it to me, and I will make them suffer before I pack this game in. I will.
So it was the Republic of Ireland instead that benefited. He led them to the World Cup finals in Italy in 1990 and the USA in '94.
I had good players and people that listened to you, and that was what I used to be shouting at them. Stand there and listen to me and get round them. And it worked.
I think his secret was that he treated the players as men, because he let them devise their own systems in a way. He'd go out and encourage them. He wanted them to represent the way they wanted to play. He wanted them to be their own men, and they admired him for that. They all wanted to play for Jack Charlton, even the ones whose names he got wrong. As you know, famously, Liam Brady, he managed to call him Ian for about 10 years. The classic for me was when I was commentating. Jack was my co-commentator at a World Cup, and we were doing a Brazilian match, and he managed to refer to Peel, normally known as Pele to most people, to Socrates, who I think we'd accept was Socrates, and the pick of the lot for me was Psycho, should have been Zico.
They stop in the street when they see me over there. I mean, me and Pat, we wandered down the main street in Dublin if we go there. And we've got a house over in Ballina, which is where I go fishing. And I still love Ireland, I still like it. Nice people.
Throughout, Jack Charlton never forgot his roots. As a player, as a manager, as a man, he never changed.
From the first day he was born to the last day, no, Big Jack was Big Jack, and what you saw was what you get. He loved his hunting, his shooting, his fishing. He once did a series of programmes for me, and they were brilliant in local radio terms. He did 10 programmes, and he went to a glass blowing factory, he went to an abattoir, he went to Roundtrees. Memorably, he went poaching one night, I think we can say that now, and of course everybody wanted to talk to Jack because of who he was, and he came back with a series of terrific programmes called Jack's Track, and he charged me £12 a programme for the lot.
No, my life's been made up of sport. I've always followed sport. I know all the cricketers, I know a lot of the rugby players, I know golfers, horse jockeys, trainers. Sport is really what my life has been about, football particularly. I don't think I'll ever change.
Good bloke, genuinely good guy.
I wouldn't swap it for anybody in the world, tell you the truth, John.